Hi, future flight attendants. How are you all doing? I'm Jay. I'm from a small town in the eastern part of India. I've been flying for almost 11 and a half years, with 3.5 years with domestic airlines, Go First and SpiceJet, and 8.5 years with an international airline in the Middle East. Through my videos, I plan to educate, motivate, and inspire youngsters to build a career in the aviation industry. So guys, today's video I'm going to share with you how can you do conflict resolution with your colleagues if you get into a tight spot. This necessarily does not have to be in aviation industry. It could be anywhere. As long as you're working, you would be working with people coming from different backgrounds with different opinions. So there could be situations where you may not agree or get along with a particular colleague or more than one colleague. So how do you handle that kind of situation? I will give you an example that happened to me in one of my flights. So this was in one of the layover flights I did. I don't remember which sector it was. It was around a year or 2 years ago, before COVID hit. She was a supervisor, cabin supervisor, who was pulled out as a business class crew. So like the name supervisor, I'm sure you can figure out that she was a supervisor. She was basically, her job was to manage the cabin, the work of a normal business class crew, how everything is going on, service flow, passengers happy, and all of that stuff. But for that particular flight, she was pulled out as a crew to work as a normal business class crew and not as a manager, not as a supervisor. So for some reason, she did not like it, maybe because it's a lot more work as a business class crew than as a supervisor. There's a lot of physical work. You have to handle your customers. There is a lot of physical work. Because it's a full service airline, there is literally, if it's an 8 hours flight, you would probably be working for 7 hours, at least 7 hours. If it's a super busy flight like London flights or Washington or New York flights, these flights are even longer. I mean, US flights are all 14 hours plus. So those flights, you probably wouldn't even have time to sit. So anyway, it was an 8 hours flight, and it was a very busy flight. So apparently she did not like a lot of things about me, and she wasn't even observing me. She wasn't even my manager that year, my supervisor that is. She was supposed to work like me as an equal in the cabin. So on the way to the destination, she didn't say anything. On the way back, she complained to that day who was the supervisor on that flight. She complained to her that Jay is rude, she is very loud, and her body language is very negative. So I did not know about all of this until the supervisor of that particular flight, she came to me, and then she was like, Jay, whenever you're free, we'll just go to one corner in the airplane, and we need to have a talk. I was like, okay, fine. I wasn't expecting anything because by that time I was already in business class cabin for almost four years, so I knew what I was doing, and I never had complaints from passengers. And I usually got along with my colleagues. If I had any problem, I would always try to avoid. I had a confrontation problem. I always have, even now. So I don't confront or tell people on the face that what are you doing, why you are doing that. If I have a problem, I just stay quiet and I just tell myself that okay, it's just one flight, tomorrow it's a new day, and I'm not going to be seeing these people again. So I'm that kind of person. I try to avoid. So it was very surprising for me. Anyway, so I was like, okay, fine. On the service and everything finished, and I told my supervisor that okay, I'm ready. So what is it that you wanted to talk? So then she calls this other supervisor who was pulled out to work as a business class crew, and then I come to know that she has had some problem with me. So now it's actually the first time that I'm hearing all the problems. So the supervisor, she tells the other one who had problem with me that okay, you go ahead, tell what are the things you want to talk about. So she goes like, Jay is rude, and her body language is very loud, and she's negative, and I don't know, like she had a bucket full of things that she didn't like about me. And I was like, what? I was like, this was my expression, like you don't expect in something, and then suddenly, you hear people like, I don't know her. I didn't even interact with her because, we were working in different sides of the plane, even though it was a business class cabin, but she was in one different side. I was in different side. We had different customers. We didn't even interact as much. I was like, what? So while she was talking in between, I cut her off once, and I'm like, but no, it didn't happen that way. I just reflex, human beings, impatient. And then she cut me. She's like, let me finish. She gave me that hand and that attitude. I'm like, okay. So now in my mind, I'm like, okay, something serious is going on. I need to defend myself. So I kept quiet. I let her finish and everything. Once she finished, the supervisor that day, the actual supervisor, she told me, okay, Jay, you want to say something? Now tell me, what is your side? So I told, I don't have any side. I didn't know that she had so much problem. I was just doing my job, you know. I didn't have any passenger complaint. All the other crew, they didn't have any complaints about me. I never felt anything from this girl, and I mean, for that matter, even if I did, I wouldn't make it so big, because every day at work we meet so many different kinds of people and we're not going to get along with everyone. So in my mind, I come prepared for that okay, if I don't get along with a particular colleague or a particular passenger, I'm not going to make it like a big deal, you know, in that flight, because this is just another day at job, you know. So and then the supervisor, she was, I mean, the actual supervisor, she saw me working, so she didn't really say anything to me, because she saw how hard I was working and I didn't have any problem with anyone. I had no complaints, and you know, it was a overall good, positive, normal flight. So then at the end, I told that, look, you know, I'm sorry if I offended her, or you know, in any way she felt the bad vibes from me, but that wasn't my intention, first thing. And second thing, you know, you as a supervisor, you've observed me, and there hasn't been any complaint from any passenger. When I come to work every day, that's my first priority, to make sure that I'm doing my job properly and that I don't have any complaints. So once that is met, if others are unhappy with me because of whatever reason, then what can I do? I can't keep everyone happy, you know. I try, but I can't. That's the reality of it, you know. I can't keep everyone happy. So yeah, and that's it. The supervisor, she's like, okay guys, you know, just, you know, it's just one flight, you know, forget about it, and you know, like tomorrow is another flight and new crew, and you know, you're not going to be seeing each other again, so let's forget it, let's carry on with our lives. So exactly, so you know, so that was just one example. So what I personally did was, I did not lose my cool, I did not get very defensive, I did not increase my voice, I maintained the decorum. Very important. Please maintain the decorum. You know, if you're having a fight with your colleagues, let's not use the word. If you're having a disagreement with your colleagues, with your family, with anyone, please maintain the decorum. You know, like it just shows your class, you know. And the more older you get, you would want to be classy and not like some cheap, you know, who raises their voice and you know, who abuses and uses abusive words just to prove their point, you know. I understand as an Indians tend to be loud and they tend to get emotional, you know, so that's all the more reason I am focusing, you know, I'm saying it out loud that, you know, please maintain the decorum. If you are at work and you have colleagues who are unreasonable and who try to get dominant, overpower you, try to throw their weight around and, you know, things like that, first thing, try to avoid them. You know, maybe they're having a miserable life, they're having a bad day, their spouses are not, you know, being nice to them, they're having other troubles in their life. So we cannot solve everyone's problem, we cannot make everyone happy. So, you know, first instinct is avoid them, try to mind your own business, you know, unless they really come head on to you. Then you confront them, but you do it politely, you know, like a classy person, you know, like show that how different you are than them, you know, so they feel embarrassed that, oh my gosh, you know, I shouldn't have been so loud about my emotions, you know. So be a better example, like be yourself, don't get pushed over by bullies. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying is, you know, you confront, but you confront in a way that shows that, you know, you're raised right, that you're educated, that you have a better understanding of people's skills, and that you know how to maintain decorum, you know. So, all right, guys, these were a few tips that I myself have used in my 11.5 years of career with the aviation industry. It has taken me a while to get my hands a little bit, to get used to using these techniques more, but it wasn't like this all the time. So I promise you, if you keep these points in your mind, you're going to make a wonderful employee and a wonderful person, and you will feel good about yourself. All right, take care, and until next video, bye-bye.